and welcome to our GTC Insiders video series, where we invite friendly faces from the A2P industry to share their perspectives on business messaging today. My name is Mitchell Cutmore, Senior Consultant and Data Analyst at GTC, otherwise known as Mitch, and today I'm joined by Anurag Aggarwal, Chief Growth Officer at GTS Globe Teleservices. Hi Anurag, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
All well, Mitch. Thank you so much to you and the team at GTC for calling me here on this platform.
It was a pleasure, don't worry. Talking of GTC, you're now with GTS, GTC, GTS, similar names, but slightly different focuses. Maybe could you describe, what GTS does and how it differs perhaps from GTC, from your experiences with us today?
So, in my opinion, Mitch, I feel that not only are the names similar, but I think even our work streams are actually fairly similar. GTS has also been within the CPaaS space for over a decade now, and we are working with a number of members within the ecosystem, whether it's the operators or the enterprises or other CPaaS providers. And I'm quite confident that that's exactly what GTC is also doing. And we are very happy with our partnership with GTC. We've recently joined hands and are looking at various opportunities within the global ecosystem where we can find possibilities of adding value, whether it's on the enterprise CPaaS side or it's an operator opportunity. But yes, I think that our visions are aligned and we are hoping for a rocking partnership.
Brilliant. And you mentioned CPaaS there, which is definitely something we've got in common. How do you explain CPaaS perhaps to people for the first time? And that can be kind of enterprises who are new to the concept, or even to your family and friends at home, because a lot of my friends always talk about me being the Chandler Bing of the friendship group, as in they know I work with something important, but no one knows what it is. So when you talk about CPaaS at home, how do you explain it to people?
Ironically, even I am termed the Chandler Bing of my friend circle because they keep trying to understand and they're like, he does something exotic where he's roaming around the world and yet nobody knows exactly what he's doing. So I
Exactly.
can feel you. So I think if there's a layman to whom I have to explain, I think the easiest for me is that, hey, every time you forget your Facebook password and you get a one-time password, it could just be going through us. So, that's the easiest way to explain basic messaging. And then from that, you can further extrapolate it into the overall CPaaS omnichannel experience. From an enterprise perspective, we'd be talking about that, we'd walk an enterprise through their entire customer journey. And that's where we'd say that, who is your customer and what is the best way that customer would like to communicate with the brand and how would the brand like to showcase itself. And that's enter CPaaS. So that's how we, explain it, whether to a layman at a personal level or even at a professional level.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the enterprise customer journey there. Perhaps if you've got any use cases in mind, where does that customer journey normally start? So we know that CPaaS is a multi-layered ecosystem. There's lots of different elements to it. Where do these enterprises kind of start their journey into CPaaS?
So I feel, Mitch, that CPaaS touches an enterprise at every level within the customer life cycle. Right from the time when you are acquiring a customer to when you are retaining the customer, and even at times when you're reaching the end of life cycle for a customer, CPaaS plays a role at every level. So from that point of view, I think that every enterprise has a CPaaS play because finally at least especially every retail enterprise, every brand, every consumer brand is out there to communicate with their customer. Especially what we've seen in the last 2-3 years, a lot of brands have now adopted a much more digital first strategy over just the typical physical communication media. From that perspective, I feel CPaaS has taken center stage in the enterprise communication space, in the branding and marketing space as well. And I think the number of use cases is just going to grow. I recently had attended a Google conference where they showed that how that same statement from OK Google, it would come in different formats and with slightly different word mixes depending on the target segment. So if a youngster is asking a question, the response would be slightly different from when an older person is asking. So from that perspective, I think enterprises are realizing the need for customizing these communication experiences. That's where CPaaS and AI is playing a role together and making it a seamless experience.
Great. And talking about growth, I mean, we've been talking about 5G networks for a while. Now we're all talking about AI, ChatGPT. How do you expect those new technologies and other emerging technologies to accelerate CPaaS?
I really feel that these technologies will help take CPaaS to the next frontier because, in my opinion, if you look at AI, as I just mentioned, that one is trying to make every communication as human-like and as non-machine-like as possible. So, from that perspective, AI is playing a very significant role in that. We hear so much about conversational AI platforms taking center stage within CPaaS. So from that perspective, AI will play its role, and it's disrupting every industry. So CPaaS is no different. 5G, yes, with growing enterprise grade speed, one would expect a lot more social media interactions, a lot more capacity usage, a lot more app download. A number of different internet use cases will come about. When those different use cases come about, automatically the requirement of the right backbone in terms of authentication mechanisms increases. And from that perspective, again, I strongly believe that the use cases of CPaaS will only unfold into many more new possibilities, and AI, 5G, IoT, all these various technologies and industries which are coming about will see further deployment of CPaaS platforms.
Sure. And so we've spoken about artificial intelligence there, but you've actually recently started a podcast called Humans of Telecom. So sounds interesting. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I am a strong proponent of the fact that behind every name, behind every email, and behind every conversation, there is a human being at heart. And it is most important that one taps into the human side of every conversation. From that perspective, Humans of Telecom, it's a barely 2-month-old podcast. I just did it as a passion project. I did it as a hobby, basically, and I have been deeply touched by the level of feedback that we've been getting as responses. People have spoken about a variety of topics which touch them. And what's interesting is that those same topics resonate with the audience as well. So the intent of that podcast is to showcase the human side of some of the well-known, not so well-known, but very interesting people. I feel every person is interesting, Mitch. I'm sure if I switch sides with you right now, there's a lot which I can learn about you also. And maybe that's a good idea. You must come on the podcast sometime. So, so from that perspective, the podcast aims at unveiling the mask and helping the audience get in touch with the human side of the people whom we otherwise bump into conferences, events, and meetings and don't get to see that side. So that's what we're intending through that podcast.
Amazing. Well, great. People know where to find out more about you then, so they can go find your podcast to hear more about you and the other people in your network. Thank you for being with us today, Anurag. Thank you for being so generous with your time and with your answers. Where can people follow you, perhaps see you next? Have you got any plans this year to be traveling?
Well, so I do try to attend as many events as I can. My company, Globe Teleservices, is extremely active in this space. And I'm a very ardent, blue-blooded MEF brand ambassador. So definitely I try and attend the MEF events. So maybe a couple of capacity events, maybe the GSMA WAS, which happens in Croatia, maybe that's on the cards. And more importantly, I would love people to follow the podcast. And that's a good way of connecting. And I would love to see more people join that movement for sure.
Thank you again, Anurag. We'll see you soon at those events and surely enough online.
Absolutely, Mitch. Look forward to seeing you as well. Thank you once again, and see you around.